Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today we're talking about some planetary energies that will be affecting us. That's right, today we are talking about Mercury going into retrograde one more time. I know everybody is tired of Mercury going into retrograde at this point, and it's been our it's going in one more time. I think that's kind of the crazy part about Mercury. It seems like most years it's only 3 times, but every once in a while it seems like it's 4 times. It just seems like it's constantly going into retrograde. And I know no one really cares for Mercury in retrograde, but I guarantee you it's important to understand so that you can work through this energy much easier and much quicker, and it doesn't get you all caught up in everything else that's going around. So let's get you some dates for Mercury going into retrograde. So on December 12th, 2022, Mercury enters retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. On December 29th, Mercury stations and turns full direct until January 18th. When Mercury turns into post-shadow energy until February 7th. And this will be the final time in 2022. But while it's really kind of being controlled by Capricorn energy, it's kind of going to be feel a little differently because this one is an earth sign. So it's kind of it's ruled by Saturn, and it's going to be making us feel like we're going to need to be a little more professional, or we're going to have to do things a little bit differently. I will tell you that Capricorn energy has a little bit of a devilish side to it. It's one of those, it may get into your party plans for the new year. It could also disrupt some stuff around Christmas time as well, because they're kind of like in that pre-shadow energy. So make sure that you make all your plans in advance as much as you possibly can, even going into the New Year's and going into January. So my daughter's birthday is the day before it gets out of full retrograde. So I guarantee you we are going to be making plans even before Mercury goes into retrograde. We are going to be making those plans and setting those dates and times and scheduling everything with the restaurants so that we are completely prepared for all of this energy. Because if you wait till it's in retrograde, a lot of times those plans will fall through, or you'll end up at the restaurant and there are no plans, or there are no reservations in your name. The other part is kind of stay flexible with this. It's one of those, sometimes when we don't schedule everything in Mercury in retrograde and just kind of go with the flow, it really does flow easier. So that's one of those, interesting. When Mercury goes direct on January 18th, it's one of those, this is going to be really a great time to kind of really start pushing that January energy, kind of like what we normally do, like the end of December and going into January. It's kind of like, what are the things that we really need to put into play? Communication can be a massive part of our daily lives, our businesses, our family life, all of those. And that can be very frustrating with Mercury in retrograde because when Mercury goes into retrograde, it can, not always, can mess up your communications, or you think that you're having clear communications with somebody, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, this isn't working, or I think we're talking about this and I think they're talking about something completely different, which can be totally annoying and just, yeah, that's the way it goes. So one of the great things is kind of really make sure that you have your plans, make sure you have your communication set up. I even do things for my business starting in November, kind of getting ready for Mercury going into retrograde before it's even in pre-shadow energy. So before it even hits December 12th, I am going to have my my December and January things all scheduled all the way out, and then even going into some of my February dates. So I'll do my celestial meditations, I will do my class dates, all of that in advance, because I have found that when I do that and it's not in retrograde, those dates hold, and it works with ease. If I wait until everything is kind of coming out of retrograde or kind of going into retrograde and I wait till then to make the dates, Sometimes they hold, sometimes they don't hold. Sometimes people will tell me like, oh, I wish it was on the next day or it was a day before. And I'm just like, well, if I'd have known that, I could have made those arrangements. But when I schedule it before Mercury goes into retrograde and I schedule those dates, all of those hold. So that's kind of one of those, interesting. I will tell you, with Mercury going into retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, this is really going to be affecting our structure. And a lot of that has to do with how we get paid. A lot of job instabilities are feeling that at the time. A lot of instability in kind of communication with other people, kind of like, especially people that we normally feel like we have great communication with. I guarantee world politics, because this starts right after the midterm elections. This is going to be kind of making us feel like, where are we going with all of this? What is this information coming out? And it could be a little chaotic. I will tell you that this is a great time to kind of start dealing with property affairs, kind of getting those things worked through early. Don't hang on to them, and don't kind of like, oh, I'll deal with it later. Deal with it before it goes into retrograde. It makes life so much easier. So let's pull some angel cards and get us a little bit more information about all things Mercury in retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. And this one is popping out first. And this one is Mars. And this is all about acting. And this is what I get is kind of like, this is where we need to be putting things into action before Mercury goes into retrograde. Getting everything in order, getting everything ready to go, getting all of that information kind of ready for what's about to come next. Like I said, I literally start working on my calendar in advance. I start scheduling dates out, scheduling with other people, scheduling appointments, those sort of things, so things flow with ease. And I also give myself a little bit more time in between each of my appointments when Mercury is in any kind of pre-shadow, retrograde, or post-shadow energy. So I have a little bit of extra time, so in case there's communication issues or computer issues or any of that, I've got plenty of time on my calendar. This one is Taurus, and this is cultivating. This is kind of what I deal with a lot, is kind of cultivating a culture of working through things. If I waited until the second my client is ready to schedule an appointment, it's not going to work out that way. Or if I wait till the last minute to schedule something that's a major event for me, it's one of those, all I'm doing is causing more issues instead of making it being easier and lighter and kind of sometimes like more fun to deal with. It's one of those, dealing with things in advance make things easier. When you wait till the last second, only makes things harder. It only makes things more of an issue, more of a problem, instead of making things easier. This one is the 6th house of sustainability, and that's what I do. I'm really sustaining kind of like the communication I already have with people. When I get into a hard spot where I have a miscommunication with someone, or someone starts texting me a whole bunch of questions or something like that, it's like, wait, we've got to settle down. We've got to get this scheduled so that I have time to get you on my calendar in advance. Because a lot of times, if I wait till the person is texting me all these kind of questions, a lot of times, like, maybe I'm not ready for that. Maybe I'm in the middle of cooking dinner, or I'm in the middle of something else, or I'm doing something with my family, and that means that my time is not completely on them, but it's also not completely on my family. So it's kind of like I'm kind of disappointing my family and I'm disappointing this other person at the same time. So I always try to schedule all of those things, and even if it takes a little bit of time to get everybody's schedule working on the same page, it's totally worth it, and really a great thing to do, for not only for me but for you as well, kind of getting everything on kind of where we're going. The next card I'm pulling up, and this is Kolali. This is all about the root, and kind of when we're talking about communication, when there's a miscommunication, I go back to the root. And for me, the root is face-to-face communication or over the phone communication, not waiting until it gets even worse. If someone asks me a question that I don't understand, I literally will pick up the phone or say, when can we talk face-to-face, or when can we stand face-to-face to each other, and get this cleared up? Because a lot of times during Mercury in retrograde, a lot of miscommunications happen, and it's because people are kind of half-heartedly doing things, or you're having issues with something else, and then you're still trying to make an appointment or email someone or something like that. So I really try to get as clear communication with people as I possibly can, and a lot of times that works best, is kind of getting that face-to-face communication, because if they don't understand, then I can understand, like, okay, obviously we're not on the same page with this, so what do you think we're talking about? What do I think I'm talking about? Let's clear this up. So it gets all of that out of the way quickly. My last card is Mercury, and it's all about the messages. When you get a message that's kind of all fumbled up or kind of like doesn't make sense, literally be in action over that communication. Getting in front of that person or over the phone and communicating with them. And even if it's an email, like, okay, what you just said doesn't make any sense. I heard this. What did you really say? And don't get, your feathers all ruffled up over stuff. Wait till they come back with you before you kind of like, okay, I really can get ruffled over this one. Or maybe it's something that there's just a miscommunication between the two of us and we can clear it up quickly and easily. That makes life so much easier to do it instead of waiting until there's already like anger or frustration, annoyance kind of thing. Like, no. Do it quickly, do it accurately, and get those communications right the first time. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.